Hi grade sixes, it's Mayor Kathy Heron here. I am standing outside St. Albert Place or St. Albert City Hall. I'm sure many of you have been here before, and I thought I would make a little video talking about municipal government because you need to study that in grade 6, and hopefully we can be using this for a couple years into the future. So I'm going to start outside. So you've all seen St. Albert Place before, and the waterfall that is there, and I'm going to go around to this side a bit. I'll put a picture up for you. This building was designed by a very famous architect called Douglas Cardinal. He was Métis, and he designed it, and I can't remember the exact date. It opened sometime when I was born, but long before you were born. I'm going to take you inside and give you a little bit of a tour of what it looks like inside, and of course what City Council Chambers looks like. And I'll take you to my office and we can do a little bit of a question and answer type of a session, and then hopefully you will enjoy it. So I'm not going to make it too long because I don't want you to get bored, but hopefully you will like this. So here we are in the very front lobby of City Hall. I'm going to guess that almost all of you have been here before because you've gone to this place. St. Albert Public Library is in the main lobby of City Hall. So, but you might not have noticed some other things that are in here. So I'm going to take you a little tour. I'm going to turn the camera around. When you first walk in, there's an information booth here that's electronic. And on the back wall here, it's all the different floors. There's 3 floors in City Hall, and the different departments that the city works in are listed here. If you go over here, this is our customer service area where your mom and dad can come and get a dog license or pay their utility bills or get garbage tags, etc. And then down this way, we have our Parks and Rec department. This is very cool. I really like this. This is it's a sculpture. Let's see if I can get back far enough. It's a sculpture that gives recognition to a lot of the artists that are in our community. And of course you can see the library in the background. I'm not going to take you all the way down every hall. You can see that the balconies for the 2nd and 3rd floor up there, and they're kind of wavy. And when I get into council chambers, I'll explain why they're wavy. So as you start studying local government, you'll understand that there's a mayor for every municipality and a certain number of councillors. So St. Albert has 6 councillors. Currently have Councillor Jolly, Councillor Hughes, Councillor Mackay. Over here we have Councillor Broadhead, Councillor Watkins, and Councillor Hanson, and then myself in the middle as mayor. So there's 1 person elected as mayor and 6 representing all of St. Albert. We don't have a ward system here. And the interesting thing about our level of government is the fact that each one of those people all has the same vote. The mayor does not have any special voting privileges over the councillors. So whenever we vote on an issue, there's 7 votes, which is always good when you don't have an equal number, so you don't have ties. But and with the other interesting thing about our level of government is that we're nonpartisan. And that means that we don't represent parties. Each one of those people is elected on their own philosophies and their own beliefs and their own stance on issues, and we end up voting all over the place. Sometimes we'll have a unanimous vote, meaning we all agree. Sometimes it'll be a 6-to-1 vote, and sometimes it'll be really close, like a 4-to-3. But we're all nonpartisan, no conservative party, no liberal parties at this level of government. All right, now I'm on the elevator and I'm taking it up to the 3rd floor, which is where the mayor's office is and council chambers is. So here is the mayor's office. So that's 3rd floor. It's got the mayor, our city manager, and a couple other departments, but I want to take you first to council chambers and the public gallery. So that is over here. It's a beautiful building. I'm going to say that a few times, but as we walk towards the public gallery, you'll see this beautiful mural that is on the wall talking about some of our history. There's Father Albert Lacombe, there's the Grey Nuns. Then I might go into a little bit of this later, but I really encourage you, if next time you're at City Hall, to come up to the 3rd floor and take a look. And while you're here, you'll see something very special. This is the mayor's chain of office. So over here, we have something very special. It is called the chain of office. I'm going to take it a little bit closer. Hopefully we can see it through the glass. So on this side, which hangs down my back when I'm wearing it, those little nameplates are every mayor of City of St. Albert in its entire history. And this is the front side of it. And looks kind of like a necklace. Right there, it says Catherine A. Heron, which is my name. And I must say that when I was first elected, it's always very exciting to be elected mayor. And when I came in and they had my name on the front of the chain of office, it probably was my most excited moment of all time. I actually think I cried. Each one of these little emblems has a meaning. I won't go through all of them, but if you come up to the 3rd floor of City Hall, each one of those emblems is described in the showcase. So it's a good little history lesson. If you want to investigate it, I highly recommend it. Anyway, so this chain of office is something that I would wear on very special occasions, such as Canada Day or maybe on Remembrance Day. And in the meantime, we keep it in this really special new case so people can have a look at it. Another interesting part of the 3rd floor of City Hall is these pictures that are on the wall. So these pictures are every city council. There's some on this wall and there's some around the corner because there's just been so many of them. And so you can go and look for some familiar faces, and you can go look back in time. Right here was my very first council when I was elected in 2010, and Mayor Kraus was still the mayor. And then there was another election in 2013, and then of course the one that sits right by the door is this current council that I just introduced you to downstairs. So a very special picture for me. Now I'm going to take you inside of council chambers. So here we are in the public viewing gallery of City Hall. It's on the 3rd floor. I'm going to show you the seating gallery. It looks funny right now. I'm going to say I was filming this video during the COVID-19 crisis. So we had many of the chairs blocked off to keep people physically distant apart so the virus wouldn't spread, but normally it doesn't look like that. So I don't know how many people it could sit, probably 75 people. And then they overlook council chambers. And that's where myself and my 6 councillors sit. I, of course, will take you down there in a second. On the wall behind us, here, where am I going, is our coat of arms. We have the Canadian flag, the Alberta flag, the city flag, and just this term, at the very beginning of the term that this council is sitting, so in 2017, we introduced the Métis flag and the Treaty 6 flag. So we have those flags hanging on the wall to represent those that are special to us. Let's go downstairs. Here we are. Now we're down on the 2nd floor, and I'm going to flip the camera around in a second. And this is the desk that all of council sits at. All our nameplates are there. We sit in the same spot for the whole 4 years that we're on council. And I'm going to now take you up to sit in the mayor's chair. So this side of chambers has stairs. The other side has a ramp. So if there's ever anyone who's elected that sits in a wheelchair, they would be completely welcome to be part of our council. So here is where the mayor sits. I will actually just have a seat. So this is my view. This is a little computer I have that we use to vote. Over here I have my gavel. That's how we start every meeting. I have a little Métis sash there. So this is the view that I have when I'm chairing a meeting. Down on the floor is where our city staff sit. We have our city manager and our legal counsel and various departments that are coming to make presentations for council to have all the information they need to make a decision. And then of course, if I scroll up, there's the staircase, and then where I was before with the public gallery. Now, I mentioned before that I would talk about the wavy walls. I don't know if it's as easy. Yes, you can see it in the video here. So Douglas Cardinal was very deliberate when he designed this very special room. The walls are wavy to represent the fact that we are on the Sturgeon River. So as a river would meander and wind through a city, he's reflected that in the walls of this chambers. And the other thing he has done is he's put the public at the highest position in this room, because the public are the ultimate people that we're responsible to, and they're the ones who vote council in. So they sit at the highest place in chambers. Then council sits kind of in the middle, and then our poor administration they're definitely not the lowest on the totem pole, because they are the subject matter experts and very highly intelligent and qualified staff in the city of St. Albert. But that is just sort of to represent how the governance works. People first, over the city council, and the city council takes their information from the administration to help make our decisions. I'm going to take you a quickly little secret part of council chambers. There's TVs on the walls because we do televise all our meetings, so they're very open to the public. But if you go down here, not very many people get to come in here. So this is a little boardroom. It's called, let's see, it's called the Council Lounge. It's a little boardroom that we can have meetings in, or if we need to have a conversation that's kind of away from the public, we'll have it in here. And then there's a little kitchen here so we can have a snack. Some of our meetings tend to be about, some of them can be at least 8 hours long. So this is just a little place for us to rest. Okay, so now we are up in the mayor's office area. So there's some space I have 2 assistants that help me so much do my job. And we're walking down the hallway now there's a little boardroom I'll show you here. Again, when I need to meet with residents or business people, we'll do that in here. And then, welcome to my office. I'm going to flip the camera around. So I love this space. I really do love my office. I have a couch and chairs instead of a boardroom table that I can meet with people at. And I have Indigenous staff on the wall that I can take to ceremonies. I wanted to show you this too. So this is the oath of office that we have to take when we're first sworn in. I have lots of maps, everything. So this is just a kind of an aerial view of the whole city of St. Albert. And this one we call our land use bylaws. So all those different colors represent different kinds of properties in St. Albert. The red is for businesses, the more yellow ones are for houses. The green is obviously park space, the purple over there is industrial. So we really need to have that understanding of what goes where, and that's part of City Council's job, is to design what land uses go where. I have a big TV on the wall so I can watch the news all day long, and there's my desk over there, and a beautiful piece of public art over top of it. And yeah, I like to keep the desk really clean, no paper if I can help it. And I'm going to give you a peek outside the window because the view here is fabulous. So seriously, one of the best views in the city. This is just outside my window. There's a railing there because lots of people do jogs behind my back when I'm working. It's nice to see people out, and you can see the river. It's springtime, so it's very high right now. And up there on the hill, you can see the big Catholic church. There's the Chateau Mission Seniors Retirement Home. And so I will just sometimes just sit here and daydream out this window because it really is one of the best views in St. Albert. All right, so now I'm going to try to talk a little bit about local government, and I've done this so many times in grade 6 classes. I'm trying to anticipate some of the questions you might have. So I'll answer a few, and of course, if you're watching this in the years to come and you want to send me an email and ask me more questions, more than happy to answer them, or just invite me to your class. I love to come and talk to grade 6 classes, and I always bring little treats, and I usually bring a root beer flavored chapstick. It's really good. So I just wanted to talk about the different orders of government. So you will learn in your school career about the federal government, the provincial government, and then municipal government. So federal government is led by the Prime Minister, who right now is Trudeau with the Liberal Party. So that is a level of government that does have party politics. They have responsibilities for a broad range of things, including defending our borders, things, the military, setting budgets that would set your income tax. They help with affordable housing. They have a broad range of things that they're in charge of. The next level of government would be the provincial government. And in Alberta, that is led by the Premier, who right now is Premier Jason Kenney with the UCP party. So that, again, is a level of government that does have parties. And so they're responsible for a lot of things too. They take care of our provincial parks. They are responsible for our education system. So they set the curriculum and help the school boards. And one of their other big responsibilities is healthcare, which is an expensive thing to do. They figured out how to pay the doctors, run the hospitals, and so healthcare is a big part of their portfolio. So then you get down, and I don't like calling it the smallest level of government, or I don't even like calling it level. I call it an order of government, the municipal level. So that is your cities, your towns, your villages, your counties. So St. Albert's a city. So we're a municipal government, but there's the town of Morinville, which is not a city, it's a town, but it's still a level of municipal government. So they are all generally non-partisan levels of government, which is why I like this level so much more, because we don't have the party politics that interfere. And so our responsibilities, this is what you'll be learning in grade 6, are big as well. We really run the everyday life of residents in the city. So we have to make sure that we provide fire. We have to have ambulance. It's the provincial government that does ambulance, but the city of St. Albert runs it ourselves through the government. So that's kind of confusing, but don't worry about it. Fire, we do run fire. So lots of the emergency responders are municipally operated. We take care of garbage pickup. So in St. Albert, we made decisions that are different from other municipalities. In St. Albert, we really value the environment. So we have garbage pickup, but only every second week, to try to encourage people to not have very much garbage. And so that's why we provide the blue bag for your recycling. So get your stuff out of the garbage into the blue bag. And then we have the organic. So we have 3 different services for our solid waste. And so that's all a decision by St. Albert Council. Edmonton's very different in how they run garbage, which sometimes can get very confusing when you move between municipalities, but that is what it is. We also are in charge of roads. So we build roads such as Ray Gibbon. Ray Gibbon was one of the things we heard the most at the last election, that it needed to be made bigger, so that's the city's job to do that. It's a municipal road, so we have to pay for it, we have to build it, and then we have to maintain it. So other things, part of roads is making sure the potholes are filled in the spring and making sure the snow is cleared off in the winter, all run by the city. Other things that the city runs is recreation and sports fields. So we take care of all the sports fields so you can play soccer and baseball. We run Service Place, we run Fountain Park Pool, we provide swimming lessons. And then we do a lot of culture things as well. We have a whole culture department. We fund different agencies like the Arts and Heritage Foundation, who take care of some of our historical buildings. So we have a lot of levels of responsibility, and one of them I mentioned earlier when I showed you the map with all the colors is we really need to sort of plan how the city looks, and we do that through a couple of big documents. The biggest one is called the Municipal Development Plan, and then we have that's a statutory plan, and then we have area structure plans, and then we have our land use bylaw, which really just determines how St. Albert will look. Whether we allow big monster houses like they have out in the county. We just don't have those here, but we have more affordable, smaller houses because there's lots of families that need more affordable houses. So we make those decisions on how many houses go on a street, and we make decisions like, should we have a manufacturing business that right beside a house? That doesn't make sense. So we have segments of the St. Albert that are more for industrial uses, and some that are for residential, and then some have like little 7-Elevens down the street, so you have neighborhood commercial. All those decisions are made at a neighborhood or at a municipal level. So the way the city looks is very much municipal issues and decision making. And then there's just the feel of the city. It's very important for municipal governments to run festivals and provide for parades and just have that fun vibrancy about a city, because cities are not just about where you live, go to school, and where you work. They're really about how you feel about them. So your civic pride, how you love your city, is very important to me. One of the reasons I ran for city council is because I love St. Albert so much. I grew up here, and I went to Sam School, and then I went to Lauren Aikens, and then I went to Paul Kane. And then when I had children, I wanted them to go to the school system here in St. Albert and have that same wonderful childhood that I did. And then as they got a bit older, I was volunteering in the community. I was a Girl Guide leader, and I did a bunch of things like that. And one of the natural extensions of being involved with your community and volunteering is quite often running for council. So in 2010, actually, interesting story is, I don't know if any one of you have ever met Mayor Kraus. He was a fabulous mayor. And in 2007, he decided to run for mayor, and he asked me to run his campaign. And I was just a stay-at-home mom, and I didn't know what running a political campaign was, but I decided I would help him. And he won mayor in 2007, and then he asked me to run for council for the next election, so 2010. So quite often I get the question about, how do you run for council? Well, anyone can run for council. Well, there's a few things. You have to be 18, you have to be a Canadian citizen. But generally I would think if any one of you watching this video right now wanted to run for council, you could. You just really need to fill out a nomination form. You only need to get a few people to sign that form, and you submit it, and you're on the ballot for the election. We have elections every 4 years in Alberta, and they're on the third Monday in October. So the next one will be the third Monday in 2021. So, and then you just campaign. So part of campaigning is you knock on doors and you talk to people, you buy signs and put them up on lawns, you can take ads out in the St. Albert Gazette. You have to go to political forums and answer questions. It can be very nerve-wracking, but it's very interesting and very fun. And then the election comes, and if you're running for council, the first six people that get the most votes sit on council. And if you're running for mayor, it's just the one person with the most votes gets to be mayor. And then you get down to work, you get sworn in, and then you have to get down to work. And it is a lot of work. People ask me that a lot. How much work is it? And I would say it's considered a part-time job in St. Albert to be on council, and full-time to be the mayor. And I would think it's much more than part-time to be a councillor here, and being mayor is definitely a full-time job. But it's fun. I often get asked what my favorite parts of being the mayor are, and it's probably meeting people. For me, I have got to meet the most interesting people. And I'm not being silly when I say this. I really do love coming to grade 6 classes and meeting the grade 6s and answering questions. That's part of the job, and that's part of it that I love. But I like being part of steering the future of this city. I grew up here, and I love it, and I want it to maintain that feeling of everyone knows each other and it's a small town, but at the same time we are growing. We have to grow. How do we grow? Do we want to have like big smokestacks in the corners, or do we want to keep the river valley preserved? Those kind of decisions I get to be a part of and steer the future of the city, and hopefully I'm doing a good job right now. So I think what else was I going to talk about? Quite often I get asked the questions about, where do we get the money to run the city? So the other orders of government, federal and provincial, get income tax. So you'll learn about that, and you'll curse it when you're older, but every time when you're a working parent or person, and you make money from your job, a small portion of that, and sometimes a bigger portion, has to go to the federal and provincial governments. At the municipal level, we have taxes, but they're not based on how much money you make, they're based on how much your home is worth. So we set a rate, and so every house in the St. Albert, whether it's worth $100,000 or $1 million, gets that rate applied to it, and then they owe that to the city. So that's called property taxes. So that tax money is what we use to pay the firefighters, and what I used to pay the salary of the man picking up the garbage, and to buy the garbage truck, and to buy the buses. That's something else that municipal government runs, is transit. So we do need money to operate. And so most of it in St. Albert comes from the property taxes that your mom and dad have to pay. Some of it comes from the bus fee that you pay, or the entrance fee to service place. So those are called user fees. But essentially those are our big pieces of how we get money, is property taxes and user fees. We do get some help from other orders of government. The provincial government gives St. Albert about $11 million a year in a grant to build infrastructure, so we can build fire halls and libraries with that kind of money. We have lots of issues in St. Albert, just like every other city. Traffic, as I mentioned earlier, was a big issue in the last election, so we are widening Ray-Given Drive to help with traffic, and we put some technology down St. Albert Trail so that the lights can time up. And so we're still in the testing phase of that, but that was, that's a huge issue. Other issues that I hear about are dogs and cats, and whether we should have a cat bylaw, and whether dogs should be allowed to be on leash or off leash. And then once we decided that we would have all the dogs on leash in the city, we wanted to provide off leash parks. So we had to find locations for those and appropriate. And so those are the kind of issues we face. One of the biggest issues that we're looking at right now in St. Albert is where we're going to build another swimming pool and another ice rink. I'm sure you kids would be interested in that. So it's very expensive to build these things. We have chosen a piece of land in the northwest side of St. Albert, because Service Place is in the southeast. So we wanted it to be kind of very on opposite ends of the city. And so we've got the land chosen. Now we just have to try to find the money to build it. And to build 2 ice rinks and a swimming pool and something similar to Service Place will probably cost us $60 million, and I don't have $60 million right now, so we're trying to figure that out right now. So those are some of the challenges that we face. I think I will just kind of end it with just getting involved. So I have a Facebook page, I'm on Twitter, I try to talk to all residents of St. Albert through social media. You can read the Gazette to see what's going on. What are the interesting things when you all turn 14? If you're at all interested, you can be on the St. Albert Youth Council. So we have a youth council that they get together about once a month, and they range from age 14 to 24, and they help us understand what the youth want. So when we're making a decision about a new building complex, I really need to hear the youth's perspective, because traditionally we would build for single families with 2 cars and a garage, but is that really what the youth of the future want? I don't know. I'm hearing that youth aren't driving as much, and maybe they like to take public transit. So what worked for me and my parents' generation might not work for the younger generation. So municipal decisions have to have the youth lens on them, because you're the future of the city. So if you want to get involved with the youth committee, I would suggest it. They have a lot of fun, and they get pizza every time they meet. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope it was interesting, and hopefully we will see you at City Hall. We give tours to grade 6 classes, or maybe I'll be invited to your classroom. So have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.